This is a log recording, an off-air log of the Voice of Korea, the Voice of North Korea, recorded Saturday 13th of April 2013 from mostly 13650 kilohertz in the 20 metre band. The transmitter on 13650 actually went off air, must have developed a fault or something, just on opening, so I recorded the opening of the transmission on their alternative frequency 11735 kilohertz at 05 hours UTC. I have changed the arrangement on this log record to eliminate several of the patriotic songs and announcements for them at the start of the broadcast, so we go from the opening interval signal straight to a news broadcast that started around 0510 UTC. Following the news broadcast, which runs about 15 minutes, there's an editorial somewhat interestingly called Foolish Invitation of Baptism of Fire of Punishment, which is aimed at USA and South Korea. Then there are musical items where we've eliminated the content up to the time they have a description at the Korean Art Gallery of somebody's emotional response to a painting of Kim Il-sung giving his son Kim Jong-Il 2 of his pistols in the name of socialism. At 5:42 UTC there was a commentary on the Spring People's Arts Festival and extracts of music, which I've eliminated from this log record. At 5:48, national instrumentalists at one of their art schools in Pyongyang. And at 5:51, the art troupe of Koreans singing at the Japanese 3rd April Spring People's Arts Festival, which I've also eliminated. So then we jump forward to the list that's read each day of operating frequencies of the Voice of North Korea. I don't support, condone, or otherwise endorse any of the transmissions of the Voice of Korea. I'm including this on YouTube as an effort to illustrate the control of the media in North Korea, and to give some idea of the thinking of the people as we go through this period of nuclear war tension. So, on to the log record of the Voice of North Korea, calling themselves the Voice of Korea, starting with the opening interval signal at 05 hours UTC.
This is Voice of Korea.
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 You're listening to Voice of Korea News Now. Respected Kim Jong-un received the floral baskets and congratulatory letters from the foreign embassies and missions of international organizations in Pyongyang on the occasion of the Day of the Sun, the birth anniversary of President Kim Il-sung, and the first anniversary of his election as first Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and first Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK. A floral basket and congratulatory letter was sent to him by the Chief of the Economic Cooperation Bureau of Libya, a floral basket by the Royal Embassy of Cambodia, and congratulatory letters by diplomatic representatives of the Republic of India, the State of Palestine, the Kingdom of Cambodia, the Arab Republic of Egypt, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, and the Syrian Arab Republic, and by the missions of the United Nations Development Program, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the United Nations Children's Fund, the World Food Program, and the World Health Organization. Those floral baskets and congratulatory letters were conveyed to officers concerned respectively.
Foreign military attaches in Korea sent a floral basket and congratulatory letter to respected Kim Jong-un on the occasion of the Day of the Sun and the first anniversary of his election as first Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and first Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK. The floral basket and congratulatory letter for Kim Jong-un were conveyed to General of the Korean People's Army Kim Kyok-sik, Minister of the People's Armed Forces on the 12th, though Hassan Reza Husseini, military attaché of the Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran, who is doyen of the corps. Congratulatory letters sent to Kim Jong-un by the military attachés of the Iranian, Vietnamese, Cuban, and Egyptian embassies and the military, naval, and air attaché of the Chinese embassy were handed to an official consent.
The Kuwaiti newspaper Kuwait Times on the 8th carried the full text of the historic report made by respected Kim Jong-un at the March 2013 plenary meeting of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, printing his picture.
Revolutionary activities of the Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army, Kim Jong-un, were reported in Iran and Nigeria on the 1st and the 7th of April. The Iranian Faros News Agency reported a photograph accompanied news of its inspection of the 2nd Battalion of Unit 1973 of the Korean People's Army, honored with the title of Ultimate 7th Regiment. The Nigerian National Committee for the Study of the Church Idea posted on its internet homepage the news that Kim Jong-un guided the all-army publicity officials meeting, the news that he had a photo session with the participants in the meeting, and the news that he called an emergent powwow on the performance of firepower striking tests of the strategic rocket force of the Korean People's Army, and finalized the plan on firepower strike. The news of the March 2013 plenary meeting of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea was recently reported by media of Russia, Nepal, Uruguay, Brazil, Ukraine, Kuwait, and Qatar, and posted on the internet homepages of Peruvian and Nigerian organizations and the International Alliance of Societies for the Study of the Church Idea and Sundan Policy in East European and Central Asian regions. Media of Nepal, Uruguay, and Brazil carried photographs of Kim Jong-un.
Members of the missions of the UN Development Program, the UN Children's Fund, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and the World Food Program in the DPRK laid floral baskets before the bronze statues of the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-Il on Mansu Hill and paid homage to them on the 12th, on the occasion of the Day of the Sun. That day, staff members of the Embassy of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam here placed a floral basket before the bronze statues.
The family of Zhou Wei, daughter of Zhou Baozong, a Chinese related to the anti-Japanese revolutionary struggle, the family of the internationalist Novichenko, and a Korean in Russia, Jong-Il sent floral baskets to the bronze statues of the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il on Mansu Hill on the occasion of the Day of the Sun. Those floral baskets were placed before the bronze statues on the 12th.
Opening ceremony of the 15th Kim Il-sung Festival was held before the Kim Il-sung Kim Jong-il Exhibition House in Pyongyang on the 12th, on the occasion of the Day of the Sun. Present there were senior officials of the party and state, officials of the armed forces and government bodies, ministries and national institutions, service persons of the People's Army, and working people in Pyongyang. Overseas Koreans delegations and overseas compatriots were present, and the members of the government cultural delegation of the Republic of Indonesia and other foreign guests were invited. The speaker in the opening address said, Kim Il-sung here, immortal flower named after the great leader President Kim Il-sung, is a national treasure of Sungun Korea and a great pride and honor of the Korean army and people. The speaker added that the revolutionary life of Generalissimo Kim Il-sung will be kept forever in the hearts of the Korean people and the progress of humanity. And the President will always be with us, along with the flower of the sun blooming in the whole world. The participants looked round the venue of the festival.
The premieres of the 3rd April Spring People's Art Festival were given at packed theaters, concert halls, and houses of culture in Pyongyang on the 12th. The performances were enjoyed by members of the organizing committee of the festival, working people, youth and students in Pyongyang, and overseas Koreans. At the Pyongyang Grand Theater, the Moranbong Theater, the Central Youth Hall, and the theaters and houses of culture in Pyongyang, artists of national and local art troupes, members of the Italian art schools and art circles, and overseas Korean artists showed through wonderful artistic representation the revolutionary spirit of the army and the people to promote the building of a thriving socialist nation, loudly singing the song of praise of the leader, song of loyalty, under the guidance of respected Kim Jong-un, holding the great Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-Il in high esteem forever.
Kim Il-sung Youth Honor Prize and Kim Il-sung Children Honor Prize were awarded to exemplary primary youth league committees and youth league officials and members and children's union members on the occasion of the Day of the Sun. The awarding ceremony was held in Pyongyang on Friday. Present there were officials concerned, youth league officials and members, and children's union members. Decrees of the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly were read, and the Kim Il-sung Youth Honor Prize was awarded to 23 primary youth league committees and 52 youth league officials and members, and Kim Il-sung Children Honor Prize to 208 children's union members.
A joint national meeting of the Korean Children's Union organizations took place in Pyongyang on Friday to celebrate the 101st birth anniversary of the great Generalissimo Kim Il-sung. Attending the meeting were delegates of the Korean Children's Union from all provinces, school children in Pyongyang, and pupils joining the union. Present there on invitation were leading officials of the party, state and army, officials concerned, officials of working people's organizations, officials in different fields in Pyongyang, teachers, pupils, war veterans, meritorious persons, and pupils' parents. The reporter called for harder study and more positive organizational life, socio-political activities, and the Do Good Thing movement this significant year, marking the 65th founding anniversary of the DPRK and the 60th anniversary of the victory in the Fatherland Liberation War, with the pride of the members of the Korean Children's Union of Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-Il Korea. Then there was an admission ceremony of the Korean Children's Union, led by Moon Jong-Do, alternate member of the Political Bureau and Secretary of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea and Chief Secretary of the Pyongyang City Committee of the party. Pupils took an oath joining the Korean Children's Union.
Agricultural workers met in front of the bronze statue of the great President Kim Il-sung in Cheongsan-lee Council District on the 12th to make a pledge on the occasion of his 101st birth anniversary. Present at the meeting were Lee Young-soo, director of a department of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, officials concerned, officials of the Union of Agricultural Workers of Korea, and agricultural workers. The participants laid bouquets before the bronze statue of President Kim Il-sung and paid respect to him. They cast a pledge led by Lee Jong-Il, chairman of the Central Committee of the Union.
Women's unionists gave a memorial concert, Our Leader and Women, at the Women's Hall in Pyongyang, and the workers at the school of the Central Committee of the General Federation of Trade Unions of Korea, a performance at the Central Hall of Workers in Pyongyang on the 12th in celebration of the Day of the Sun. The concert and performance were enjoyed by officials concerned, officials of working people's organizations and women's unionists, workers and trade unionists in the city. Put on the stage were various items, including mixed chorus, The Day of the Sun, Spring Holiday, Poem and Story, Cradle of Love, Trombone Solo and Female Trio, Our Unforgettable Leader, and male solo, Road of Great Love. The performers warmly praised the immortal exploits of the great leader President Kim Il-sung, who built an invincible socialist country where the people are masters on this land.
The Pyongyang City Youth and Students meeting was held at the Central Youth Hall on the 12th, on the occasion of the first anniversary of the election of respected Marshal Kim Jong-un as first Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and first Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK. Present at the meeting were officials concerned, officials of the Kim Il-sung Socialist Youth League and youth and students in Pyongyang. The reporter and speakers said it is a great fortune of Kim Il-sung Kim Jong-Il career and the greatest honor of the Korean people to hold Marshal Kim Jong-un, unrivaled statesman and brilliant Sungun commander of Mount Baekdur, in high esteem. They called upon all youth and students to vigorously struggle for the accomplishment of the revolutionary cause of Juche in firm unity around Marshal Kim Jong-un, loudly singing the march of the Korean youth.
14 crewmen met at the Chongjin port on the 12th on the occasion of the first anniversary of the election of respected Kim Jong-un as first Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and first Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK. Smiling portraits of the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-Il were hung on the front wall of the venue of the meeting. Present there were the captain and crew of the Panamanian flag ship Tianyun. Speakers at the meeting said the election of Kim Jong-un as the supreme leader of the party and state is an expression of the Korean people's infinite trust in him, who is admirably carrying forward the idea and cause of the great Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il to completion. They wish the Korean people a greater success in the building of a prosperous socialist nation and in the struggle for national reunification under the leadership of Kim Jong-un. The meeting adopted a letter to Kim Jong-un.
The Indonesian government cultural delegation led by Hari Untoro Derajat, expert senior staff to the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, visited Mangyeongdae, the birthplace of President Kim Il-sung, on the 12th. The delegation came here to take part in the 15th Kim Il-sung Year Festival.
14 military attaches corps in Pyongyang went round the venue of the 15th Kim Il-sung Year Festival on Friday on the occasion of the Day of the Sun.
Director General of the International Institute of the Juche Idea, Vishwanath, who is Secretary General of the International Kim Il-sung Prize Council and International Kim Jong-il Prize Council, flew in Pyongyang on the 12th to celebrate the Day of the Sun. That day, the Director General of the Asian Regional Institute of the Juche Idea and his party and the delegation of the Indian Organization for the Study of the Juche Idea also arrived.
A spokesman for the General Staff of the Korean People's Army answered the newspaper Chosun in Mingun on the 12th. The spokesman said, from April the 10th, according to the new scenario of the South Korean Blue House, the Ministry of Science for Creation of Future sponsored the fabrication of a report on the result of investigation. But what they call March 20th hacking attack incident is a doing of the North and made it public, persisting in near confrontation racket against the DPRK, and continued. According to what the South Korean media announced, from 14 hours on March 20th, the KBS, MBC, YTN, and the South Korean broadcasters and big and small financial firms were paralyzed all at once by successive cyber attacks, and the whole of South Korea was plunged into an unprecedented great chaos. Due to the incident, alias March 20th hacking attack, tens of thousands of servers and computers were destroyed and related networks were deadlocked. And as a result, the reporting of the broadcasters was suspended and banking services of the financial networks were paralyzed. The chaos caused by the hacking attack was so disgraceful that the puppets of a self-styled IT power South Korea did not dare to make it public. Soon after the incident happened, the South Korean puppets made a conclusion at first that it might be an act of the North and started a wholesale investigation. But contrary to their expectation, it was confirmed that the hacking on the whole networks of the broadcasters and financial firms started from third countries, causing public criticism. Since the countries concerned showed a sign of protest concerning it, the South Korean puppets officially announced that as a result of another analysis, the internet address of an official of the agricultural cooperative, one of the financial firms, is the source of the hacking attack, and it was also found that it was an intentional attack caused by complaints of presence of some broadcasters. While public ridicule was spreading concerning the frequently changing results of the investigation, an unexpected international hacking team called Whiz announced that they had patronized all the networks of South Korea all at once, disgracing the South Korean puppets in the eyes of the world. Since their incompetence and ignorance were disclosed, the South Korean puppets dropped the curtain of the March 20th hacking attack incident. But in the next month, April the 10th, they suddenly made public a result of investigation that it was confirmed that the cyber attack was an act of the North. Unending South Korean public ridicules of the present authorities clearly show that the result of investigation was run through with groundless insistences and sophistries. It is an inveterate and constitutional bad habit of the South Korean puppets that when an incident or misfortune happens within themselves, they groundlessly connect it with the North and use it as an opportunity for confrontation with fellow countrymen. Their insistence that the March 20th hacking attack incident is an act of the North is a replica of the Santotunan incident. It is an intentional provocation to drive the situation of the Korean Peninsula to the extremity, siding with the nuclear war moves of the United States and another confrontation racket against the DPRK. Facts clearly prove that the South Korean chief executive is identical with the trader Lee Myung-bak in the confrontation racket, meaner, and more malignant than him. If there is a difference, the present mistress of the Blue House instigated the newly set up Ministry of Science for Creation of Future to discharge the mission of a ministry specializing in creation of the act of the North, a conspiratorial drama for confrontation with fellow countrymen, whereas the trader Lee Myung-bak fabricated the Tunan incident as an act of the North by inducing even the U.S. master. The army and the people of the DPRK who have turned out in defense of sovereignty deal with everything according to the wartime law, in keeping with the wartime situation of the inter-Korean relations. When the South Korean puppets fabricate a new drama and provoke us, they will get nothing therefrom but final ruin, the spokesman for the General Staff of the Korean People's Army stressed.
The Secretariat of the Committee for Peaceful Reunification of Korea released information number 1030 on Friday. The information said, recently, the South Korean military warhawks present the so-called strategy for squashing the North Korean army, revealing their extremely dangerous attempt to invade the North. It triggers off astonishment at women abroad. According to it, since the computer simulation of a total war on the Korean Peninsula shows that more than 100,000 South Korean troops would be destroyed in 10 days after the war started, a lot of missiles should be launched beforehand to squash the North Korean armed forces. This new strategy will be reflected in the Upland 5015 New North Targeted War Scenario. For the present, the South Korean military gangsters attempt to deploy long-range air-to-ground missiles capable of striking all parts of the North from the south of the military demarcation line. To this end, they make desperate efforts to import latest war equipment from abroad. Our powerful revolutionary army of Mountbatten will mercilessly punish the South Korean warhawks before they move, and their squashing strategy and the like will be useless under a terrible baptism of fire. The South Korean puppets should not act rashly, squarely seeing the strong spirit of our army and people who have turned out as one in the just war for national reunification, the information stressed.
The People's Front of Workers, Peasants and Students of Korea issued a political statement on the 4th and the Anti-Imperialist Forum of Germany a statement on the 6th in full support of the special statement of the DPRK government, political parties and organizations. The United Confederation of Koreans in Kyrgyzstan made public a statement on the 5th in support of the special statement and the new strategic line presented at the March 2013 plenary meeting of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea. Yoganat Ramsal, coordinator of the World Journalist Network, who is chief editor of the Nepalese newspaper Rising Nepal, and Dakas Nada, representative of the Japanese Ehime Institute for Modern Korean Studies, recently issued press statements denouncing the United States and its followers for their moves to suffocate the DPRK. And that's the end of the news read by Chae Jong-Nam and Kim Hyun-ok. This is Voice of Korea.
The daily Rodong Sinmun of the DPRK carried a commentary on Saturday under the title, Foolish Invitation of Baptism of Fire of Punishment. The commentary said, on April 9th, the South Korean Warhawks conducted a large-scale combined firepower exercise against the DPRK on the east coast in South Korean Gangwon province, with the mobilization of K-9 self-propelled guns, multiple launching rocket systems, anti-artillery radar, destroyers, KF-16 and F-15K, and many other war equipment of the ground, naval, and air forces. The large-scale combined firepower exercise conducted by the South Korean military on the East Sea of Korea with the mobilization of the three services clearly proves that the adventurous moves of the United States and the South Korean Warhawks to trigger off a nuclear war on the Korean Peninsula under the pretext of coping with provocation of the North have already entered the practical stage. Now the South Korean military brass hats are making malignant bellicose remarks such as immediate punishment and decibel retaliation every day. It discloses the hysterics of the South Korean warmongers to provoke a nuclear war at any cost with the backing of the United States. The South Korean puppies should bear in mind that their warning is not an empty talk, and only merciless punishment will be given to the provokers. That was the gist of the commentary under the title, Foolish Invitation of Baptism of Fire of Punishment, carried in the daily Rodong Sinmun of the DPRK on Saturday. This is Voice of Korea. We now present a fellow solo and bangchang of the new song, Korea Forward for Economic Development and Nuclear Arms. The song was written by Yoon Do-gun, composed by Jong-Un, arranged by the collective, performed by the Unhas Orchestra, and conducted by Jong-Il. The soloist is Jang Young-ok.
At the Korean Art Gallery. It was noontime when I reached the Korean Art Gallery on the shore of the River Dedong in Pyongyang. I found many visitors at the gallery and met my old acquaintance, section chief of the Scientific Research Department. She asked me what I was writing. I said I was writing an article about the Sun-gun, or Army First Revolutionary Idea, for which I had begun covering. She conducted me into the Fine Art Works Preservation Room, saying I would write a more vivid article after appreciating art pieces. What caught my eyes in the room was a painting, among others, of national value. It was the Korean painting, The Guerrilla Leader Kim Il-sung Receives Pistols of His Father, which was painted by artist Yoo Jae-kyung in 1956 or 1967. It reminded me of the valuable advice of the experienced researcher that the article on the Sun-gun revolutionary idea should begin with its origin. The moment I saw the painting, a photograph crossed my mind. In a room of a humble house in Fusong, I saw in the reminiscences of the guerrilla leader President Kim Il-sung, his father Kim Hyung-sik, outstanding leader of the anti-Japanese National Liberation Movement of Korea, finished his valuable life as a revolutionary on June the 5th, 2015 or 1926. He left 2 pistols behind as a legacy. Kim Sung-myung, lecturer of the Korean Art Gallery, who was accompanying me, told an interesting story spun around the 2 pistols portrayed in the painting. 조국 해방을 이룩하기 전에는 간과한 혁명의 길에서 절대로 물러설 수 없으며 무장한 적은 The two pieces of Kim Hyung-sik awakened the Sunjung-based truth that it is impossible to step back from the arduous road of revolution before national liberation, and the armed enemy should be defeated with arms. The latter said the two pistols handed down by Kim Hyung-sik together with the program of the Down with Imperialism Union founded in October 2015 or 1926 became the origin of the Sunjung revolutionary idea, and pointed to another painting. The painting represented a historic Kowloon meeting held in the summer of 2019 or 1930, one of the most important meetings registered in the history of the Korean Revolution. At the meeting, the great President Kim Il-sung presented a line of armed struggle as the main line of the anti-Japanese national liberation struggle, and thus declared the birth of the Sunjung revolutionary idea to the world. The Sunjung revolutionary idea, founded by President Kim Il-sung, has two essential contents. One of them is the idea on attaching greatest importance to arms in the revolution and construction, and putting military affairs ahead of all other work. The other was the idea on firmly building the multi-force of revolution with the Revolutionary Army as the core, and promoting the revolution and construction by depending on the leading role of the Revolutionary Army. The lecturer said the historical facts at that time were widely known to the world as themes of fine art works, feature films and songs produced by many creators and artists, and took me to another painting. The painting dealt with the young General Kim Il-sung declaring the founding of the anti-Japanese People's Guerrilla Army, the first revolutionary armed force in Korea, on April the 25th, 21 or 1932. It marked the start of the Sunjung-based revolutionary leadership of President Kim Il-sung. Great Jong-Il carrying forward President Kim Il-sung's Sunjung revolutionary idea, the immortal banner of the Korean Revolution, began its Sunjung-based revolutionary leadership as far back as 1949 or 1960, which was another historic fashion given to the Korean people. What a high position Korea has been put on under the Sunjung leadership of Kim Jong-il. My impression at the Korean Art Gallery was really great. Today, the Sunjung revolutionary idea, whose truth has been proved in the trying ordeals of history, is being brilliantly carried forward by respected Kim Jong-un, who has inherited the bloodline of Mountbatten. I left the Korean Art Gallery with the belief that there will be only victory and glory on the road ahead of the Korean people, armed with the Sunjung revolutionary idea, the most powerful weapon. So far, you've been listening to a reporter's account under the title, At the Korean Art Gallery. This is Voice of Korea.
The 3rd April Spring People's Art Festival. You've just listened to some of recorded programs of the 3rd April Spring People's Art Festival. This is Voice of Korea. Dear listeners, with this, we conclude the English language service of Voice of Korea from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Voice of Korea presents its English language service for Southeast Asia between 5 and 6 hours UTC on 13,650 kHz and 15,105 kHz, and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,735 kHz and 13,650 kHz. For Middle East and North Africa, between 16 and 17 hours UTC on 9,890 kHz and 11,645 kHz, and between 19 and 20 hours UTC on 9,875 kHz and 11,635 kHz. For Southern Africa, between 19 and 20 hours UTC, on 7,210 kHz and 11,910 kHz. And for Central and South Americas, between 4 and 5 hours UTC, on 11,735 kHz, 13,760 kHz, and 15,180 kHz, and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,710 kHz and 15,180 kHz. Goodbye, this is Pyongyang.